Welcome back everyone. So today we will start our second session of the day and we will begin the session, and for that I would like to call Dr. Ishmit Kaur Chaudhary on the dais. And I request Professor Paresh Joshi to chair this session and to felicitate Dr. Ishmit Kaur with University case. Dr. Ishmit Kaur is an associate professor at Department for English Studies at Central University of Gujarat, Vadodara. She was recognized as an inspired teacher for the President of India's in-residence program at Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi in June 2015. She has received awards for her outstanding dedication and invaluable contribution to social media welfare on Women's Day 2024 by Aryavrat, the Life Saviors, an Ahmedabad-based NGO. Women's Achievers Award 2025 by WSCC, Gujarat Chapter and Ahmedabad Book Club in recognition of her outstanding contribution to literature in 2024-5. She has been working on literatures of margins and minorities with major contribution to 1984, Anti-Sikh Massacres, Black November, writing on Anti-Sikh Massacre of 1984 and the aftermath, Patrick White Critical Issues, and poems on the anti-Sikh violence of 1984, Survivors of Chaurasi. She has also been participating in various translation projects, and her recent works are on cyber feminism and menstrual studies. So, welcome ma'am, and I request Professor Joshi to take over the session.
Well, good afternoon. Days after days, we are enlightening ourselves. We've been lucky to have some very renowned resource persons all this while. One such resource person is none other than Dr. Ishmit Kaur Chaudhary. A chairperson chairs the session and the resource person takes the session. So I'll chair and I request her to take her session. I won't waste too much of time. Thank you very much for being with us. Looking forward to having a very engaging session.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am always a bit humbled when they read out the introduction. हम ही भेजते हैं वो introduction भी. And so it's also a bit of a show off that we all do, but there's nothing that great anywhere. I do want to make a promise right in the beginning that I hope I will not kind of bore you, right? Because it's after lunch session, नींद भी बहुत अच्छी आती है, right? But I hope that I'm not going to bore you, because I also find it very difficult to sit in boring lectures, right? So we are going to interact a bit. Let us talk while while I'm engaging or while I'm speaking. So there are lots of questions which I'm going to ask you in between, and normally जो पीछे बैठते हैं वो normally बदनाम रहते हैं, right? So but I've also always been a backbencher, right? And I do have a lot of, in fact, liking for the backbenchers, because even अगर वो पीछे बैठे होते हैं, alert भी वही होते हैं. Am I right? Right. Right. And mostly the ones who are sitting in front, they'll never, have an eye contact with you. Right. वो उनसे आप कुछ भी सवाल पूछने लगे तो वो ऐसे नीचे देखने लगते हैं, right? So on this note, let me not take much of a passing time, right? And let me get to work, right? Okay, we will do something today which has always been a problem point, right? we all are very good at talking. That's what I feel. And I feel Indians and Gujaratis, we are very good at talking, right? I am a Punjabi. I'm actually from everywhere. I mean, I'm spread out. So I was brought up in Himachal. I am supposedly Punjabi because I'm a Sikh by birth, right? So बातें करनी तो हमें बहुत अच्छी लगती है. And Gujarat and Punjab, two things are common, right? Is the way we talk, right? And we are very lively people, right? And I think that's why Gujaratis and Punjabis are also all around the world, right? Gelling, and we make a very good sizable global population. So I think something very good about us is that we are able to communicate, right? We are never hesitant about reaching out to people. The problem that we face is it's not that we lack a vocabulary, right? It's not that we can't get across, right? We can't share our ideas with others. The problem that we face is when it comes to writing, right? And writing is also okay. If we got to make lists, we are very good at making lists, right? But when it comes to kind of making sentences, right, we sometimes just write as we speak. And that is also fine, right? In case I'm writing a short story, I can definitely write as I speak, right? A lot of writers did that, right? They just wrote whatever came to their mind, and we know of stream of consciousness writers, right? आज तक मुझे कभी समझ में नहीं आया उन्होंने लिखा क्या है और चार बारी पढ़ना पड़ता है, right? Because there's a kind of a thought structure, and they're writing in that thought structure, right? And I don't know, I cannot get into other person's head to know what they have written. So in order to understand, this is just one example. Many writers, for that matter, one has to also go to secondary readings, and then you have to go back to those writers, because what is happening is we are interacting with a language which is also not our language, and many a times the problem is कि जो हमारे तक आ रहा है उस लैंग्वेज में उन्होंने भी नहीं लिखा हुआ. So somebody has written in French and it is coming to us in translation, right? And perhaps if those people read their work in translation, they might say we never wrote this, right? We wrote something else, right? So there is this, but in doing all this, getting across to people, we are also interacting with a lot of languages, right? And our one major challenge as Indians that we are facing is that for all these years we've been writing in English, right? And we are a department of English and comparative literature, but let's keep English first, right? We are a department of English, so we have to write in English. We really cannot give away that. The second thing which I often say is, and I often tell my students very optimistically, is that, suppose I go to Germany to study, I will learn German. If I go to France to study, I will learn French. We have a bit of an inhibition regarding Indian languages, so maybe if I go to Tamil Nadu, will I learn Tamil? Or if I go to, if I've come to Gujarat, will I learn Gujarati or not? So the interesting fact is that we are in a country where we have an access to n number of languages, and it's not that one language that we must know many languages. And we do interact, right? I mean, I have a joke where I say कि Indians हम ऐसी बिल्लियां हैं जहाँ से भी फेंकोगे चार टांगों पे खड़े हो जाएंगे, right? So when I say that, I mean to say is that we are interacting with so many cultures and so many languages that we can be anywhere and everywhere, right? Some people who come from polyglossic country, from monoglossic countries, जहाँ पे एक ही भाषा है, when they come here or when they go to other countries, they're completely lost, right? And they start learning languages, right, before going to other countries. You can send us anywhere, we don't need to learn a language, we'll pick up wherever we are, right? That's the beautiful diversity of our country. Now, so that means that we are people of language, right? So the first thing is that we are people of language. But then why does one language called English kind of scare us off? Because English is also like many other languages. It's just one of the languages. But we are very, very scared of English, right? And why does that happen with us, right? And the interesting fact today is, so my motive today is, my objective today is that if you are scared of English, right, by the time we finish this talk today, my expectation is that about 90% people here will not be scared of English anymore, because this is also one language which has a huge support system, right? Maybe in order to learn Gujarati, you have to go to a person who knows Gujarati, right? A Punjabi cannot teach you Gujarati, right? But for English, there is such a huge support system, right, that you can learn it on your own, and there are such tools now which are going to help you even write, right? So towards the end of my talk, I'm going to talk about those tools. I'm going to give you certain tips how to go about it. But let us kind of look at what is happening with us. How many of you relate to this? Can everybody read this? So there's a concern, why can't I write? Look at the time, right? Then type, and then there's no time, right? And you fall asleep. So writing, the thing that happens in between, exhausting your deadline and exhausting yourself. So you have a deadline, you keep thinking, okay, I am going to write, right? What am I going to write? It's in the head. You know what you're going to write, right? Or it's, I have a very fascinating research scholar. She comes to me, she says, my chapter is ready. I say, oh great, come, right? I'll send the chapter. No, I can't send it to you. I'll come to you. Okay, come. But ma'am, I need time. So I'll give her 2 hours. She will come. You know what is she going to get? 5 sheets of paper, and the chapter is there and it's a full chapter. It's a 60-page or 40-page full chapter in 5 sheets. So there are all points here, there, everywhere, and they are not written neatly. एक कोने में उड़ रहा है, दूसरा बिल्कुल पेज के नीचे है, right? The chapter is everywhere on the page, right? So but she knows her method. She knows where has she put the methodology, where is the literature review. And so her entire thesis is here, inside, right? And her struggle is this, right? Her struggle is how to bring those fragments, those small little pieces which she has collected from everywhere, right? How to bring them together. That's the struggle. And I'm sure this is everybody's struggle. How many of you don't relate to this? You don't? So why? I mean, you find it, are you very organized? So you match your deadlines. So you are very lucky. At this age, even I can't do that. So I would rather congratulate you for this thing, right? That's wonderful. So guys, he is the person whom you need to go next time if you struggle, right? Spot him right here, right? So but I think this is a thing which I jostle till date, right? So I would be thinking of writing something, and then my chairperson would tell me to come here, right? And then I will not get the time to write my paper, but the paper is still there in the head, right? The point is, how do we bring it on paper? And one is that, and when we bring it on paper, see, any good idea will find justice if it has been presented beautifully, right? So you see, this presentation is something very important, but it is not like a very simple presentation for us who are engaging with academic writing. It's very, in a way, formal for us, and it's very significant for us because somebody is going to read it. And we are contributing to research, which is going to stay there for perhaps another 100 years or even more. We don't know, right? But if we have not been able to get across to people about what we are trying to say or what we have researched, then what is the point of that research, right? Then somebody else works on the same idea that you have already worked 50 years back, right? And that person gets the credit for what has already been done. The problem is not of the credit. The problem is that research is collaborative. So what you have worked on already, this would be taken forward by the new researchers, right? We move ahead from one point to the next. So people would be researching on the same things which have already been done. And therefore we are, wasting human capital, on that, right? So that is something very important. That is the reason why we have to write, in a way where we can get across to other people. So what could be those fundamentals? What could be those points, right? We'll park it for another couple of minutes and then we'll come to actual work, right? Let's talk of another, maybe you could tell me, what are the problems that you face when you have to write? Anybody? What are the problems which you face when you are writing? Yes? Spellings, alright. So spellings though is very nicely taken care of now. You have a mobile phone? You have a Wi-Fi connection or a mobile data? Right. So now we are not in that era where we need to, remember spellings. Right? You have spell check also. Right? So you just find spellings. Right? But you have to make an effort. Right? I always tell students कि Google.com को प्लेजराइज करने की बजाय इन चीजों में यूज करो, right? So instead of using, Google search for downloading certain papers and to copy them or, just to copy paste them and make your own paper, don't use technology for this. Use technology smartly for things where it can enhance you. And one of the ways is spellings, right? Check your spellings, right? And while you are checking, then remember that you do not make that mistake again. So that's a very interesting and a very easy way to learn also, right? Yeah, somebody had raised a hand there. Yes, absolutely. And that is the biggest thing, right? Connecting one idea to the next idea. And that is where you basically require some thought process, right? You need to do certain kind of a thinking. Okay. What else?
Starting point.
The flow of ideas. Like we are continuously thinking. There are many thoughts, but when we write, there are less points. What we think about.
Yes. So the flow of ideas and collating your ideas. So I said here inside is really fertile. You have a lot of ideas, but when you put it on paper, you like कि यार अभी तो इतना कुछ था, पूरा का पूरा पेपर रेडी था, ये डिसअपियर कहाँ हो गया, ये कहाँ उड़ गया, right? And then sometimes we start blaming memory for that, right? So how do we tackle that? We'll talk about that also. And one small tip is you have notes on your phones. So wherever you remember, right, any idea that comes, put it on the notes, right? So don't let ideas evaporate. Let the ideas be there. But when you want to sit down with ideas, you're also going to, delete a lot of ideas which will not be relevant. So maybe if you have a list of 50, only 10 will remain with you, right? Anybody else? How many of you go through writer's block? You want to write, but you can't write. When you sit down to write, it becomes difficult to write. Right? Yes, right? And Sir here mentioned another thing that Sir had mentioned was the starting point. One doesn't know where to begin, right? So that is always the difficult thing. But once begin, it's almost done, right? You're almost in it. So we will talk about the starting point also. But the writer's block is something which again kind of, troubles us quite a bit. The only way to overcome a writer's block is reading, right? Nothing else. So you can't write, read. And when you read, you get ideas and automatically your writing comes back to you, right? So writer's block का एक ही solution है, सिर्फ एक solution. And वो बहुत ही simple है, that is reading, and that is the most difficult of all also, right? So I just wanted to make it a bit light, so I thought let me bring these, right? So there's an idea, right? Eureka. So I have discovered it finally. The cure for writer's block is, he says, writing, right? But you will not be able to write until you read. So reading will lead you to writing, because when you read, you will realize that there are certain ideas in what you are reading, and that is what is going to trigger you and motivate you. All right, this has been dealt in this ways. I don't agree to it, so let me write, right? So that is what takes you to writing. This is what we are going to do today. So what is academic writing? So there are different types of writing. So nowadays there is this Gen Z writing, right? So every time my daughter sends me a message, I have to ask her, J क्या है? IDK क्या है? Right? So every time I have to ask her, what is this, right? So maybe, you know, I don't want to call myself old, but we grown up people, right? Or elders. We need to take some kind of language classes, you know, from the younger generations, because language is also undergoing change. So there are many kinds of writing, but we want to primarily look at two types, right? We are going to look at one only, so I don't want to raise your expectations, but we're going to compare it to creative writing, just to keep a focus and to understand, you know, what we are going to talk about, academic writing. So academic writing is the most boring kind of writing, right? Creative writing is the most interesting kind of writing. But at the same time, academic writing, it might sound very boring, but once you get into it, it is one of the most formal kinds of writing, and it also triggers your sensibility. So something which appears very boring, you know, becomes extremely, in a way creative, right? And it also becomes something very significant as you go by. Another thing that academic writing does is, it gives you the power to write something critical, right, which may otherwise be considered as very controversial. So only a few people understand what you're trying to say. You get my point? आप कुछ political thought लिखना चाहते हो, लेकिन आप ये नहीं चाहते हो कि हर lay person वो पढ़े और उसके around एक बवाल खड़ा हो जाए, right? So it works as a shield, because if you want to engage in meaningful conversation with a certain set of people who are supposedly scholars and experts in that area, and you don't want, you know, all and sundry, anybody coming and engaging with that, because you are not catering to that set of people, right? That is where academic writing functions as a shield, right? So if you are clever enough, you understand what this is doing, and this is a kind of a skill, right? So what it does, it's the manner in which, you know, the research parameters are explained and expressed. So how do you basically explain your research parameters? How will you do it in creative writing? Right? Think of it. I mean, creative writing also, don't think that creative writing happens without research. A lot of people will do a lot of research even to write a small little story, right? But how would you, in a way, explain your research parameters, you know, in a creative writing? And how will that be different from an academic writing? So academic writing will open up a lot of space for you to explain the details of your research parameters. In creative writing, you might just, you know, give a passing reference that perhaps you lived with the domes in Varanasi, and then you've written a book around that. But a research writing will also be able to give you space to explain your methodology, right? And this is where the academic writing comes in, where it's something which is acquired, right? Which is also not natural. You acquire parameters of writing when you're engaging with research. It's definitely different from creative writing. It is more technical and logical. So creative writing can also be one thought. You write a story, एक thought में लिख दिया, and then you don't want to edit it anymore. It's all the liberty of the writer, whether the writer wants to edit one's creative piece of work or is it just one thought, right? But this does not go with academic writing at all. Academic writing requires a certain kind of a labor where you reread your work, you try to look at it from a lot of technical angles. You have to understand the logic in what you are writing. You have to ask yourself, is this really what I mean to say? Is this really what is the finding of my research? Right? And then you have to answer that question and balance your writing over there. Right? You cannot take that, loose liberty which perhaps creative writing gives you. So it is extremely technical and it is extremely logical. One thought will lead to certain questions. Is your writing answering those questions? Is your writing enabling those questions? Right? So that is where you have to keep going back to your writing, reading, rereading, editing it. There is no room for abstract statements and ambiguity. So you just can't say, like I just said, right, Gujaratis and Punjabis talk a lot. This is a very abstract kind of a statement. Not all Gujaratis talk a lot. Not all Punjabis talk a lot, right? So there is no room for, these statements in academic writing, right? So then what do, right? You need to have evidence for everything that you are saying, right? You just cannot take the liberty of passing remarks very loosely, right? It seems very nice. I have to garner your attention, so I can start like that, when I'm talking. But when I'm writing, I really cannot do that. 10 people will stand up and say, what evidence do you have that Gujaratis are very talkative? Right? What evidence do you have that Punjabis are very talkative? Right? My grandfather used to talk very less, right? And he was a Punjabi. So there are these questions. So one very important thing about academic writing is that it needs to be fact-based. It cannot be your opinion or my opinion. You have to substantiate it with proper evidence, right? And that is what reflects, in academic writing. Yes, creative writing gives you liberty. You can opine. You can say whatever you feel like saying. It is your opinion. It is the writer saying that particular thing and the writer takes the responsibility for it. But as a researcher, even if you say I take responsibility for all that I am saying, it does not work because it's not your responsibility. You are not a part of your thesis. What you have studied is a part of your thesis. Your opinion does not matter, right? What matters is what you have gathered from the data and how you have inferred the data, or how you have, use certain kind of analytical models to infer the findings from the data. So it's not you speaking, right? That is what you have to understand. It's not you speaking. It's the data that speaks, right? So that is where you have to be very, very careful. It also defines the intellectual boundaries of research undertaken by the scholar, right? So what is the position of a scholar who is writing a particular research essay? From where does the scholar come? When I say that, it doesn't mean what country you come from or what region you come from. What is the ideological position that you are taking, or you are negating, or you are even contesting, right? So what is the scholar's position? Why is the scholar working on a particular issue? That's the answer which your research writing is going to give. So you have to define this question. Everybody has to ask oneself, why am I writing this assignment? So the answer can't be because the teacher has given you to write this assignment. Then you have to ask, why has the teacher given you this assignment to write? Right? Why are you engaging with this assignment? Right? Not just because you're forced to do it, but there is a reason behind that. Right? What is being evaluated when you are writing that particular assignment? What are you being trained for? Have you really picked that up? Right? So, and if you can't understand, go and ask your instructor. Right? Eat his or her head. Right? Go and ask. Say, आपने क्यों दिया है ये assignment हमें? हमें इसमें करना क्या है? Right? If you are able to do that in your daily life, you will definitely do it in your academic writing. Right? So the first question is why? The second question is what? So first is why are you doing it? Right? And the second question is what are you doing? So what will answer your, questions, research questions, right? How are you doing it? How will answer your methodology, right? So you are going to define your methodology through how. Are we good till here? How many of you are thinking कि अब थोड़ा सोया जाए? Right? Hopefully not, right? So another thing which academic writing gives you a sense of pride. You become an expert of your work. So you don't have to work for 20 years to become an expert on a particular, topic. Take that pleasure in writing, right? So start thinking you're already a scholar and start writing, right? I know a lot of people are going to say, "Arey bhai, bacha lo," a lot of scholars will come around us. But what I'm saying is, take pleasure in what you're doing. Take pride in what you're doing, right? And so start thinking that, okay, if this is an expert essay, is this the quality of the essay? Right? So how do you become an expert? Right? You only become an expert if you have already read what is already there, right? That means literature review, your referencing, your list of works which are already available on the topic that you are working. Having read that, you deduce certain inferences from there. So there'll be certain things where you will say, these writers are talking in favor of a particular topic, right? But these writers are writing against it. Now what is my position? Now it is you, right? But it is you through the data. It is you through the text, right? So we are students of literature, so text is central for us, right? So you have read 4 writers talking about, a particular book, right? And they're talking in favor of, perhaps, let us say, the narrative technique which has been used, and it's in the sense that the narrative technique is very post-colonial, right? Whatever, right? It's a very loose thing, but there are other 4 who are talking about, that it's not just post-colonial, right? It's also, there is also certain kind of a propaganda within that kind of the narrative technique which has been taken, right? There are more functions which are happening. Now you as a scholar, having read this and having read that, you are going to look at the text and then you are going to argue, what is missing in what the 2 sides have already given. If you do not find anything missing, then you do not have any reason to work on it. So something new that you are able to explore will give you a research question. So the next thing is, so there is a why, there is a what, there is a how, and the next thing is what new, right? What new. So these are certain things which you have to think. This is preparation for, writing your piece of essay. So if all these things are there, then you are ready to get into writing. Let's now consider the points while writing. Okay. How many times have you read an essay and you've thought ki I am not following a single sentence which has been written in here? And I'm talking of scholarly essays. How many times has that happened with you? Anybody जिसके साथ कभी ऐसा ना हुआ हो? So that means this has happened with everybody, right? How often is that? This happens with me every day, right? Every day I might open up a book and I might feel ki, sorry, I can't follow a single sentence. And then what is my reaction? Why can't they write simple? Right? So the first point to consider while writing is clear and simple sentences. Right? So I have to go to other sources in order to understand a particular essay. So sometimes एक 4 पेज के essay को पढ़ने के लिए मुझे 40 पेज का पेपर पढ़ना पड़ता है, right? And I, being a teacher, I can't escape that. Sometimes I have to read 4 essays for 40 pages each to understand a 4-page essay, right? Which is also a very enjoyable exercise in itself, right? But the idea is when I write, right, when the endeavor is on to me, when I write, can I just write very clear and simple sentences? Try to say what I am trying to say and not what I am not trying to say, right? वही लिखना चाह रही हूँ मैं जो लिखना चाहती हूँ, right? So मैं वो नहीं लिखना चाहती जो मुझे नहीं लिखना है, right? और वो कैसे possible होगा? वो तभी possible होगा if my sentence is clear and it is simple. Use simple language. Please use the words that you understand yourself. जिन वर्ड्स के मीनिंग आपको नहीं पता है क्योंकि वो थिजॉरस या सिनोनिम्स की लिस्ट बता रहा है, प्लीज मत यूज करो, राइट? डोंट यूज दैट. देयर इज अ डिफरेंस इन विलिंग एंड विलफुल, राइट? वो देखना पड़ता है डिफरेंस क्या है उसमें, और अगर कर रहे हो तो फिर डिक्शनरी खोल के और मीनिंग्स भी देख लो कि जो वो सिनोनिम बता रहा है उसका मतलब क्या है, राइट? सो there's no point in using jargons and there's no point in writing a difficult language. क्या बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हो आप लोग? ये हमारी vocabulary बहुत अच्छी है, right? शशि थरूर की भी है बहुत अच्छी, right? So how does it matter to me how good is your vocabulary? How does it matter to many of us how good is quote unquote, I really admire her, but for writing, I understand her with great difficulty, Gayatri Spivak, right? How does that matter to me, right? But can I write simple? Can I write clear, right? जो मैंने लिखा है मुझे समझ में आ रहा है. Many a times, when I get assignments, I tell the students, I call them and I tell them, पढ़ो, right? And then I ask them, अब समझाओ. And believe me, वो third sentence पे अटक जाते हैं. Then I ask them, did you write this? अब तो किसी और का भी नहीं पूछने की जरूरत. Did AI write it for you? Right? So life in fact has become easy. Friends are not doing work for friends. AI is doing for everybody, right? So you just ask them, मैम आपको कैसे पता? भैया आपके पास भी वही सोर्सेज हैं जो हमारे पास हैं, हमारे पास भी वही हैं जो आपके पास हैं, एक ही अर्थ पे रहते हैं हम लोग, मार्स से तो आ नहीं रहे हैं, राइट? सो इट्स सो सिंपल, राइट? सो व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, एवरीबडी इज डूइंग दैट, राइट? बट इफ यू आर ओरिजिनल, then you are original, right? Then nobody is doing what you are doing, right? So remember, all those sources that you have, my IP address is giving me all those sources, right? And I have a limited mind. We are all here together because हम सब एक जैसे हैं. मैं भी वही करूंगी जो आप कर रहे हो. So I also know from where the material is coming, and you also know from where the material is coming. Thing is, at least इतना कर लो कि जो आपने लिखा है वो आपको समझ तो आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है, right? That's the basic thing that you can do. Second is brevity is the key to research writing, right? Don't kind of explain or don't kind of over explain. Don't bring in the entire world's information in one piece of writing, right? That is not what is required, right? So brevity is the key to it. जितनी information की ज़रूरत है उतना ही लिखो. जो sentence form करना है, छोटा sentence form करो. Now there is definitely a difference in the way women write and men write, right? Mostly women write very long sentences. और ये opinion नहीं है मेरा, ये evidence research है, right? Mostly because we are very good at communicating, and socially we are conditioned to give a lot of explanation for every action of ours, right? So वो हमारी writing में भी नजर आना शुरू हो जाता है, and we write very very long sentences. We try to reason out for everything. It's good to reason out, but write smaller sentences. एक आइडिया आए, उसको कॉमा 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 सेमीकोलन करने की जरूरत नहीं है. एक छोटा सा आइडिया है, उसको फुल स्टॉप करने की कोशिश करो. How do you write a small sentence, right? And how many thoughts should be there in one sentence? Preferably one thought in one sentence, right? Maximum 2 thoughts in one sentence, right? So brevity is the key to research writing. The smaller the sentences are, the clearer they are. The simple they are, you will be able to understand them better, right? Well polished, proofread, well edited sentences. This is in capital bold letters. So normally what do we do? I mean normal everyday writing में what do we do? We send a WhatsApp message. भेजने के बाद नजर आता है, ओहो ये सेंटेंस, ये वर्ड गलत हो गया, स्पेलिंग गलत हो गए. Then now we have a edit वाला feature, so we edit, right? But that doesn't work with your research papers. So write a sentence once, right? Try to see if you can, rewrite it again. So there is an active and a passive. There's something active in the sentence. Would the other way around work well, right? There's a direct, indirect. सारी उम्र हम करते आए, 10th तक यही करते आए, 10th क्या 12th क्या, मतलब I think graduation तक यही करते आए हैं, 10 नंबर का active, passive and direct, indirect. Now is the time to use it, right? So play with your sentence construction, right? Try to see that is there another way of writing it, right? Where am I stuck? Polish your writing, proofread it, right? And also edit your sentences. And don't be in a hurry when you write. Write, let that piece sleep for 2 days, come back to it again, right? So I'm not saying कि don't do anything for 2 days. थोड़ी देर उसको पार्क कर दो, उसके बाद दूसरा काम करो, right? आगे का लेके जाओ, फिर वापस उसको पढ़ो. The more you read and the more you edit your sentences, right, you will realize how the quality is enhancing. And I must tell you, this was my latest experience. My supervisor is 75 years old, right, with whom I did PhD. She wrote a 4-page foreword for one of my poetry books. She first took, I don't know how much time sending those 4 pages. Not because she did not write, because she wrote and she was editing editing it. One morning, 5 o'clock, I got a message from her. Right? And she says, I was rereading my piece. Can you make these changes in my piece? 4-page of a foreword. Right? But she's so meticulous that at 5 in the morning, पता नहीं क्या आया होगा दिमाग में, उठ के आप पहले अपना फॉरवर्ड पढ़ते हो जो आपने भेजा है अभी, और जब तक वो प्रिंट में नहीं गया, we edited it I don't know how many times, right? Similarly, so there's a professor from an an American university. I'll name him Professor Amritjeet Singh. Some of us might be knowing him. He wrote a essay for one of the volumes, not for me, for somebody else, but I was reading it for him, and he must have edited that essay more than, believe me, 15 times. Right? Every month I would get a updated essay. Can you read it for me, please? And his age is 79 years. He's going to be 80 next year. So I'm giving you these examples. They are not old schoolers, right? They are people who have earned, all these credits by writing. And till date, they are so meticulous about their writing, lesser about writing, more about reading what they have written, right? And in the end, he also told me, take a last look at it and see if you can find some punctuation mistakes, right? And you just can't say, and we are learning from these scholars, right? So you just can't say that, no, everything is okay, there's no punctuation mistake. You will find something, and if you don't find anything, they will find 4 mistakes and send it to you. You didn't see this, right? So this training, you see, I did my PhD in 2009. It is 2025. This training keeps going on forever. You are learning you keep learning forever from the people you have worked with. Also try to find such mentors in your life. It really helps. You should have people around you who can read your work, right? You should have people around you who can tell you this is trash that you have written, this is nonsense, right? You need people who can tell you, what I think is that you have written it in this way, but I have a different perspective, right? Find out those kind of people. Find out those groups where you can work. Research never happens in isolation. It never happens in isolation. That is the first fundamental of research, right? So you have to find out like-minded people. You have to find sincere people around you who are willing to read your work, right? And you are willing to read their work, because it's also give and take, right? Naturally, if you have edited your sentences n number of times, there is going to be clarity of idea. Now sometimes what happens is, I'll also show you an example. In one sentence there are going to be 4 ideas, right? So avoid that. Finish one idea, next sentence, new idea. Sentence बनाने के पैसे नहीं लग रहे हैं, right? It's free. One sentence, one idea, clean it, clear it. In the next sentence, go to the next idea. For example, very simple thing, right? I am hungry, let me eat something. I'll open the fridge and see what is there. I think there should be apples and bananas, but I don't want to eat fruits, so what I will do is I will order from Zomato. Right? How many ideas are there in this sentence? You think one idea? The person is hungry and just wants to eat, right? Now, इसको एक सांस में आप बोल रहे हो, तब भी उसका, and अभी तो बोल रहे हैं, लिखा नहीं है, right? There is no meaning in it, right? So you have to even think in, with pauses, right? So how will you write it? But what we do is we write like this. I am hungry. I'll open the fridge, I'll see what is it. No, I'll not open the fridge. I'll buy fruits, I'll not buy fruits. There'll be something in the fridge, I'll go back, I'll open the fridge. Oh, chodo, I don't want to have fruits, I'm going to, order Zomato. Now there can be another one, right? What do you order on Zomato? Right? And then there can be another thought that I don't want to eat Zomato, I'm going to eat healthy. And you come back and you eat fruits, right? Anything. So how do you organize this? Right? And how can, one idea be completed in one sentence? Right? I am hungry. Let me eat something. Pause. Should I eat fruits? Let me check what is there in the fridge. Right? बोलने में भी आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि वो एक pause देने से ही क्या हो रहा है. Right? And the way you write, your mind is also reflected in what you are writing. So जब आप aggression में लिखते हो तो आपके aggression की tone भी होती है आपकी writing में. जब आप प्यार से लिखते हो तो प्यार की tone भी होती है. तो पूरा genre ही है love letters. Right? So वो tone भी है एक उधर. Right? And so you see, your tone will also be reflected in what you're writing. Your anger will be reflected. Your thought will be reflected. Your calmness will be reflected. Your patience will be reflected. Right? Everything will be reflected in what you're writing. So, and how do you reach that? You reach that through well-defined sections by organizing what you're writing. Right? So you have one section, you have one thought, I am hungry. I am very hungry. I need to eat a full meal. I am a little hungry, right? Whatever. You have to be definitive in what you're doing, right? So you need to have well-defined sections. You have to be very aware of the objective of each paragraph and its placement in the paper. So, one hand you are hungry, you want to eat something. What will you do after you have eaten? After you are satiated, right? So, you can't have two paragraphs clubbed there. So your next paragraph will define, let me eat and get done with it. Then let me sit down with the book. Let me take a small nap. Let me finish my assignment, right? Let me finish my assignment, right? Whatever. And then the second section comes in, right? Now, I'm giving you these trivial examples just to make you understand what I'm saying, right? Academic writing is much more formal than the examples that I'm giving you, but I do have those examples for you. We are going to see those. So beware of the objective of each paragraph and its placement in the paper. Now, this is a very conventional idea where you need to have an introduction, methodology, findings, and conclusion. You can work in any ways. You might want to begin with a methodology, right? You might want to say that in this paper is going to explore the methodology of reading memes on Instagram related to menstrual movements. So here your focus is on methodology. So you may not begin with introduction, but you begin with methodology. Sometimes you can even begin with your findings, right? So you can have a small little abstract right in the beginning of your paper where you describe your findings, and then you go by, how you have reached those findings, right? So but these 4 things are definitely part of every paper that you write. Now you may arrange it as per the need of the paper. You should also keep in mind that who's going to read the paper. So focus on the reader, whether what you have written is clear to the reader or not. So who's your audience, who's your reader? What set of people are they? What level of research is it in that particular sense, right? So this is where you need to, think about. And one, you have to think about whether it is clear to you or not. Number 2, whether it is reaching out to your target area or not. Clear? Anything you want to ask here? Anything you want to add here which I have missed? You can even share an experience of yours if you have any. Any difficulty you have faced, how did you overcome that difficulty? How many of you have attempted to write maybe research papers or any kind of a formal writing earlier? Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 people? Not everybody? So अब मुझे नींद का असर नजर आना शुरू हो रहा है, राइट? सो आई थिंक एवरीबडी कभी तो ऐसे लिखा ही होगा ना, राइट? क्लास 10 में तो एक हमारे टाइम पे तो 40 मार्क का ऐसे आता था, बट आई डोंट नो व्हाट हैपेंड विद यू, राइट? So any experience, who would like to share an experience where one, yes, wonderful, yeah.
So, ma'am, actually it's my personal experience, and not only while writing a term paper or writing research paper, but everything, every time if I need to write something, I'm facing an issue. I don't know why. So, for example, I know this topic I want to write, and I need to write. It's necessary. But sometimes my mind goes blank. I don't know why. So how can I solve this issue?
So the answer is reading. Right. So you have to basically, I mean, okay, so here I would also use a word motivation, right? So you have to find ways how you will motivate yourself to write, right? Now that some people will get motivation by buying a new pen, right? Some people will get motivation by buying perhaps a very nice diary, right? Nowadays we don't use that, we use computers to write, right? But that is a very transient motivation, right? It won't long last, right? So basically you will have to read, on what you have to write. So reading will give you a lot of ideas, and once you are reading, you will think about whether you agree with it or not, and then you will be motivated to write, right? Have I been able to, do you agree with me, or you?
I agree, but ma'am, while reading, our mind is working like a speedy, you can say, board. But the thing is that after some time it stops again.
So yes, so this is something very important, particularly for PhDs. Reading and writing goes hand in hand. So you really cannot do that. You get 10 books and you say, I'm going to read all those books and baad mein likhenge. That never works, right? So you read and you write together. So reading and writing goes hand in hand. So therefore, what you're saying is you read, while you're reading, then you get ideas, right? And then you're blank again. No, it won't happen. You try this out, you read, you write, and once you have written, your mind is definitely fertile, it has ideas. How can it go blank again? For a new paper, it can go blank again, right? But for the paper that you are attempting to write on, so every time there is a pause, you have to go back to reading, right? So you have to make this habit of reading and writing together and simultaneously. Yeah? Thank you for sharing your experience. Anybody else? No?
I think they are writing from the exam point of view. They are not writing as an academician.
Yeah, but do they have a dissertation in MA?
No.
They don't have
Term
a
papers they have.
term paper. So for term papers, they will have to write academic.
They become Google scholars.
In fact, if you can get these techniques in your exam essays, you will see a rapid improvement in your marks, right? If you can actually incorporate these techniques in your answers, in exam, you would actually see a rapid improvement in your exams. Yeah, somebody had raised the hand there. No? अंगड़ाई ली थी क्या? Alright. Take a look here. Your project summary needs more jargons and acronyms, right? सो सिंपल प्रोजेक्ट सिंपल राइटिंग वाला अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, बहुत ही सिंपल है, बहुत ही सिंपल, राइट? इसमें थोड़े से वर्ड्स लाओ बड़े बड़े. The goal is to make ourselves look smart while making the readers feel dumb. What about clarity? Clarity is not our friend on this one. How many of you agree with this? How many of you have been doing this? मैंने भी किया अपनी जिंदगी में, right? Yeah. So शुरू में, like when I was also in MA, I used to feel बड़े बड़े words लिखो, impress करो, right? Even I have done that, right? A lot of people have done that, right? Yes. So, but I think now we understand that it's the other way around. It's clarity that is the goal. It is not, jargons, and there's no harm in writing simple. No? You might face a bit of rejections, from certain publishers if you write simple. But not from big publishers. Believe me. Big publishers will come back to you and say, can you, make it a bit simpler? Right? The mid-level publishers are going to say, you write very simple. Right? I write very simple. My poetry is like extremely simple. It's just like everyday kind of a thing. Right? And when nobody wants to publish poetry as it is, but when I've approached a couple of poets, a couple of publishers, they've rejected my poems. Ma'am, ये बहुत simple है, right? So simple poems नहीं हो सकती, right? So, but that's again an example from creative writing, right? But it's not that, and the bigger publishers come back to you and they tell you कि नहीं आप इसको थोड़ा simple कर दो, right? ये paper, I've recently edited a book which is coming out from Orient Black Swan. So there was one paper which was difficult to read. So the publisher got back and the publisher told us that, can you just make it very simple, right? And with a proper feedback, right? So that is where, you see, even writing simple is basically a strength, right? Because you get across to others. And people read you, and what you're doing, it has more meaning, right? And there's more clarity, right? So this is not what is our objective. Our objective is to be clear and to get across to others. Now let's do an activity, right? I'm going to read this out, and you have to tell me which one is a piece of creative writing and which one is a piece of academic writing, right? Listen, if you can read it along, but if you listen to me, you will get to know. The pain was what caused me to decide to die, said Prita Kano. And when I say pain, it is exactly what I mean. Nothing mental or physical. And for that reason, all the more intense pain. Headache, toothache, period pains, lower back pain, stiff shoulders, fever, muscles, ache, burns, frostbite, sprains, fractures, blows to the body. All my life I have experienced physical pain with far greater frequency and intensity than other people. Take my teeth, for example. What do you feel this is? Academic or creative? How? Why? Sir is saying it's subjective, right? It's about I, right? What does it lack as an academic writing? It's personal, subjective hai, personal hai, right? Evidence missing hai, right? There may be fact, but the evidence is missing. There may be a logic, but the kind of logical reasoning that we are looking for is not there, right? Now let's look at the other piece. Contact with someone afflicted with a disease regarded as a mysterious malevolency inevitably feels like a trespass. Worse, like the violation of a taboo. The very names of such diseases are felt to have a magic power. In Stendhal Arment's 1827, the hero's mother refuses to say tuberculosis for fear that pronouncing the word will hasten the course of her son's malady. And Carl Menninger has observed in The Vital Balance that the very word cancer is said to kill some patients who would not have succumbed so quickly to the malignancy from which they suffer. What? Academic? Why? Okay, there are hardly any evidences, but there are references. They refer to other people. Both are about pain. Both are about disease. Right? So we understand one is a personal experience, right? And the other one is basically talking about taboos regarding diseases. So you also understand a problem. In the first creative writing, do you understand the problem? Can you build a research question in the creative writing, Vala? You can't. There isn't a research experience, a research question. It's just an personal experience of what one goes through, right? Now this personal experience may translate into a research question in an academic writing. You know, the researcher might have interviewed somebody who has gone through that pain. The researcher might have interviewed people with tuberculosis and cancer, might have understood the taboos which are around that, right? And the research is also bringing references, right? So it's not only that you read, but when you read, you are also expected to give references. If you do not give references, then it's like chori, right? उसको हम plagiarism बोलते हैं, वो cheating होती है, right? And ethicality is very important in research, right? So, does this make sense to you? Do you understand the difference in the two now? Yeah? Okay. So this is like, in the first case, is it ambiguous? So the first case is the first creative writing piece and case 2 is the academic writing piece. So what falls in what? So you just have to say yes or no. For example, the first piece is ambiguous. The second is not ambiguous. It is clearly defined, right? Is there clarity in the first one? No? Think about it. There is clarity in the first one, right? In the second, yes, both are clear, right? Both pieces there is clarity. Is the case 1 formal? No, it's personal. Case 2? Yeah. Case 1, is it informal? Right? And case 2 is formal, right? Use of first person, case 1, but not case 2. Referencing and citation, case 2, not case 1. Which is more factual? Both are factual. Personal वाली को दर्द हो रही है भाई, right? That is factual, right? Both are factual. Which is opinionated? Case 1 is opinionated. Case 2 has all references and evidences, right? Which is fictionalized? Probably case 1. Probably case 1. Case 2 is not fictionalized. Which is direct and to the point? Case 1. Case 1 is direct and to the point. For case 2, you have to understand the references from where, you know, those whatever opinions are coming in. Clear? Works? जाग गए हो सब लोग? Okay. So best practices, aim for clarity, write brief, and this is just a repetition. Write brief, simple, brief sentences. Avoid flowery language. Keep the reader in mind. Include all important phrases. Avoid extra and unnecessary sentences. Okay. Now look at this example. I'm going to read it out again and we're going to look at how many ideas can be put in one sentence, right? There is growing interest towards the study of legal migration, and the Arab Gulf countries are home to a large population of South Asian migrants, including illegal, illegitimate migrants. Their experiences of migration and lives are different from those of legal migrants, and hence it is pertinent or important to study their literature. So if you see, this is one sentence, right? And including and, right? We understand what they're saying, but we have to take a break and you have to color it so in order to understand that, okay, the first thought is about the growing interest towards the study of illegal migration. The second thought is about the Arab Gulf countries are home to large population of South Asian migrants. So there are four thoughts, in one sentence. And often we write like that. This is a neat sentence. It's not a very bad sentence. So if we read it, we feel, okay, it's a fine sentence. It's a neat sentence. But it is pretty problematic, right? Like, you have to work with punctuation marks, you have to work with connectors, and you are not letting the reader think, right? As a piece of writing, you're not letting the reader think. The intelligent reader will take a break, sochega, karega, padega, right? But otherwise, if it is timed reading, right? आपको 5 minute दिए जा रहे हैं पढ़ने के लिए, so it will not get across to you, right? You will not have that time to think and read. Now look at the other one. There is a growing interest in the life and experience of illegal migration around the Arab Gulf countries. So first two thoughts have been collated together in one sentence. उसको उसने क्लियर कर दिया कि किसमें ग्रोइंग इंटरेस्ट है, लाइव्स एंड एक्सपीरियंसेस ऑफ illegal migration where around the Arab Gulf countries. These countries have over years become a home to a large population of migrants from South Asia vis-a-vis illegal migrants. So second में वो क्या कर रहा है? Why these countries? Right? And why are we calling them illegal migrants? Therefore, it is very important to study about the life and experience of illegal migrants that is full of challenges and complications. Right? So you also reason out while you write, right? And can you see the difference in the two? The first one was not a very bad piece, right? It was a good piece. But how do you improvise it? And there are even ways to improvise the second one also, right? So this is, now if you mark the difference, you realize that how improvising can, make your writing better. And it's not one time improvising, it is jitna time de sakte ho, right? How much time do we have?
Another 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so maybe we could do this. Where to start? Right? So you can start writing from anywhere at all, right? Because you do not think in a proper structure, right? And the best way to start is from the portion that interests you the most, right? So start from that portion. So it's about an essay or a research paper, but when you're writing, your submission would be a properly organized piece where there is a neat introduction, right? Body and end, that's what we do. But when you write, the process of writing, you can start from anywhere, right? And the best idea is to start from that particular section which interests you the most. You have a question? Yeah. Ask us.
That whenever we want to start, but if we had the only one topic, then we collected more and more information and data, then how we select the one?
In fact, so even if it is one topic, right, you have a, let us assume you have a conclusion in mind, right? Start from the conclusion. You can always change your conclusion based on what you have read earlier, what you're going to read later on, right? But whatever interests you the most, right? So these are hypothetical conclusions, tentative conclusions, hypothetical findings, right? Begin from whatever you feel like that, okay, this is what I can work on. This is what interests me. The conclusion is that that there is, for example, my latest work has been on digital humanities and memes related to menstruation. So I want to conclude that the online movements have been very powerful, related to normalization of menstruation, right? So I can begin conclusion from there. And my conclusion can change later on, where I say that not many people are interacting in the comment sections, right? But that I can do later on after I have, done my analysis of all the memes. And then I say, and because the piece is with me, मेरे पास ही है ना मेरा essay. Before I submit it, I can change wherever I want to, right? But this process of writing, start from whatever excites you, right? Whatever interests you, for whatever you have a little material. But begin, right? Remember, you can edit a blank sheet. Sorry, you can't edit a blank sheet, right? You can edit a bad paper, right? So you have to begin somewhere. So begin from that point, whatever interests you. Don't think कि अभी पढ़ लेते हैं फिर introduction लिखेंगे. Don't think like that, right? Just begin wherever. Read and reread, connect with the content, read and reread what you write, right? So जो पढ़ा है secondary readings वो तो है ही है, पर जो अपना है, again and again I am emphasizing, read, reread, 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 right? That's the key to it. Start from the middle. When you begin, don't bother about the sequence, right? Introduction is a working document. Finish your introduction in the end. In the end, now what you have to do is, it's just like you go to the market and you do a lot of shopping. But when you come home, then you arrange it in the closet, right? So paper is exactly like that. Now arrange your things in the closet. Now think about arguments. Now think about where does a particular sentence go? Where should a particular paragraph come? Should history come first? Should interviews come first? Right? What should come first? Right? So, and be experimental in your papers. Right? Gone are the times when we have been working according to conventional ways of writing. Right? The ChatGPT from where you try to copy, see the structure of writing in that. Right? Ask ChatGPT to give you a structure, give a tentative rough topic, see the structure, how they've written. Ask them to give you another structure, then another structure. Look at these different structures that it is giving you. Don't copy ChatGPT for content. इतना झूठा आदमी है, I can't tell you, right? I actually asked ChatGPT to do an analysis of a novel. I'll tell you the novel also, The Future Tense by Natasha Cole. So I said, do an analysis of women characters in Future Tense by Natasha Cole. क्या फट्टे मारे उसने, no? ChatGPT writes that in future tense, women are really deprived. There is a lot of domestic violence. The women kind of resist so much, right? And in the end, they are able to, they start a movement and there is a reform. There is nothing of the sort. It's, the protagonist, most probably Natasha Cole, it's her own person, right? I mean, the protagonist goes to Kashmir, right? She's nostalgic, right? And she takes a journey to Kashmir because she has lost her parents and she wants to go to the place and see the roots from where she comes. That's it. There is no domestic violence, there is no reform, there is no resistance. So this is what ChatGPT is doing with you guys, right? So be very, very careful, right? But you must be aware. Play with it, right? Ask ChatGPT to do all these things for you. Talk to ChatGPT. Aha, kya acha friend hai, right? So do all those things. So go and see the structure. See various kinds of structures, right? Use technology in a very smart way. Don't let technology get heavy on you, right? You be the dominating person when you're using the technology, right? And enjoy it. I mean, we are in a world of technology. We cannot park it aside. We can't say हम नहीं use करेंगे. हमें करनी है use, right? We have to use it. It is there and it is there for us, right? But use it smartly and wisely, right? So look at the structures and be very experimental in the ways you want to write your papers. But the basic things remain there, that it has to be clear, there has to be an argument, there has to be coherence in the argument, right? And there has to be, you can't have one sentence with 4 ideas. ये whether ChatGPT से चोरी करो या खुद लिखो, ये सब basic रहने वाला ही है, ऐसे ही रहेगा ये, right? So remember these things, right? Rearrange your work when the writing is complete, right? So then you can do it in any ways. So these were certain examples. You can have a background first, history, problem statement, methodology, hypothesis, data collection, data analysis, findings, conclusion, or you can have a problem statement first, factors determining the issues, literature review, data collection. These are just thoughts, right? These are just to give you examples that you can arrange your paper as is the need of the paper, is the need of the topic, and as you might feel more confident in addressing those concerns, right? But at the end of it, it has to be clean, neat and meaningful, right? Okay, so let's focus in here. Use of technology, very important. We have a software, right? All of us use Microsoft Word, right? Believe me, it's beautiful, right? It's very useful. So you have some features in there, spell check, referencing, reviewing. How many of you use them? Good, right? So look at referencing and reviewing, right? You can have all your references, on your Word document, and then you don't have to jostle with arranging those references in a particular format, because it has all the formats in it. APA, Chicago, MLA, and you just need to give a command and it is going to arrange them for you. Now once it is done, please don't forget to check, because human check is very important. So sometimes maybe it's not using the updated edition, so you have to update it yourself manually. So those checks are very important. Track changes, reviewing, right? This is a very important and a very interesting feature. So you've written something, you don't need to delete it. If you put the track changes on, वो वहाँ पे कट जाएगा और आपका नया sentence आ जाएगा. So you can always go back to the earlier sentence which you have written, and then later on you can finalize it, right? I'm sure you must have given certain papers to some teachers to check, and they might have come back with you with the track changes, right? So use it as much as possible. Google Docs, people can simultaneously work on Google Docs, right? 4 people, 5 people, 10 people can together work on Google Docs, right? So that's one of the, I think that's one of the very, it's a very interesting way to work for, when you're working in teams, right? So 4 people, 5 people can see the same document and make changes there. And, it's not that you're again editing it, you cut and you write, but you have something called suggesting. So whatever is there, it remains, and new suggestions are also there, right? So get handy on these. For those who struggle with language per se and English language, Grammarly and Quillbot, right? You have to check with ethical concerns regarding Quillbot and Grammarly. Though these softwares are made by, stealing a lot of material from here, there, everywhere, but we are researchers, so let's give a small little statement, right, in the end of our work where we say language has been improvised using Quillbot. बस एक इतना छोटा सा sentence लिख दो, right, because so that your instructor, your supervisor knows that it is not originally your language, you have improvised. And it is not wrong to improvise, it is being accepted, right? So just write one statement, the language has been improvised using Grammarly or Quillbot. So you have paraphrase options in here. You select a paragraph and it gives you, various suggestions, it rewrites for you. Again, caution statement is sometimes it changes the meaning, right? So read what it is suggesting. Just don't say, अरे बड़ा अच्छा सा इसने sentence बना दिया, इसी को insert कर लो. Don't be in a hurry. Read what it has written. So say, okay, नहीं या तो meaning change हो गया, right? And so for grammar check also, it will also give you a lot of suggestions, right? Quillbot might not give you Grammarly suggestions, but grammar check gives you a lot of, suggestions, and it will also point out where you are making mistakes. So the idea of using these are not just using them, but also improving your language, right? So जो लिखा है उसको तो improve कर ही रहे हो, but अपनी भी language सीखो उससे. वो जहाँ पे बता रहा है कि ये grammar mistake किया है, तो learn that mistake, not to make it again when you write, right? So that only then can, technology enhance your skills also. So use technology with an open mind, use it smartly, right? Don't do smart work with technology, but use technology smartly. Don't do unethical things with technology. It will not take you anywhere. Sooner or later पकड़े जाओगे, और पक्की बात है पकड़े जाओगे, right? So use it in a way where it is more useful to you. And don't escape technology. ये मत सोचो हमने use ही नहीं करनी है, right? Use करनी है, करनी पड़ेगी. The world we are entering, this is going to be our life. So let's use it, very smartly, and let's use it very open-mindedly, right? I think I'll bring it to a close here with the note that you may not write well every day, but you can always edit a bad page, right? You can't edit a blank page. So write, right? Get into the habit of writing. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm sure there will be some questions that you would need to ask our resource person for the day. Go ahead, yes.
I like to write, but when I write, I find it's not good enough. And instead of editing it, I just delete it. So what should I do?
So next time don't delete it, right? Next time let it be there, right? And talk to what you have, right? So you may not like it for the moment, right? So I, this also reminds me of that वो हिंदी पिक्चर का वो सीन होता था एक कि राइटर लिख रहा है या कोई लेटर लिख रहा है तो बार बार उसको एक पेज पे लिखता है उठाता है और यू करके फेंकता है. Thankfully now we are saving a lot of trees, not doing that, right? So basically don't delete it. Let that be there. You will have days to delete it. You can delete it after 10 days. But the good thing is that you can let it be there. And if you get in the habit of using reviewing feature, track changes feature of Word, let that be there. Improve on it. Add on it. But don't delete. Right? So you basically have to think about what you have written, right? There's also a highlight thing. You don't like what you have written, उसको highlight करके छोड़ दो, अगला paragraph लिखो, right? Go back to it later on. Because if you put this block right in the beginning where you are deleting, you will never write. So whatever you write, you will delete it again. And then you will never write. Write trash. बकवास लिखो, right? But वो एक पूरा पेज हो जाने दो उसको, right? So writing actually is a very painful, very interesting and very pleasure-giving activity. But the pleasure does not come to you until you have suffered and you have experienced that pain. Right? Many a times, I mean, this is also for PhD students when they do PhD. My teacher used to tell me, जल्दी publish करा लो, नहीं तो जितना time PhD लिखने में लगाया उतना time edit करने में लगाओगे. So every time you will go back to your writing, you will feel कि I could have done better because you're growing every day, right? So don't delete anything. उसको चलने दो आगे, उसको पढ़ने रहने दो वहाँ पे, right? I hope this will help.
Yeah, morning.
And during session, you have tell us that use simple language. Don't use much type of figurative or romantic language. So, are you familiar with the romantic era?
Yeah.
Why, ma'am? Please tell us.
We can't question them why they were doing it. I think the kind of English which was written earlier, right? This was embellished English, and I don't know if you know that there is a term called, and this I'm giving you the example from poetry. There's a term called anti-poetry. सुना है कभी? So ये जो marginalized लोग लिखते हैं, particularly Australian Aborigines की poetry के लिए term बना था anti-poetry. So that means their poetry does not read like poetry. So what is poetry then? How do you define poem? Anybody writing in a perfect meter, anybody writing in a perfect rhyme scheme, right? Using a certain kind of, the metric system, is that poetry, right? And here the experience of a lot of people from the marginalized communities was not the way the British English had that kind of English, right? So even today, we Indians cannot write the way the Britishers write, right? Now we write in Indian English, right? So this whole idea, of what Britishers were writing, what the Romantics, आपने तो फिर भी Romantics बोला है, वो तो simple लिखा था, right? They started this trend of writing simple and going back to the common people. Go to neoclassics, go to metaphysicals, right? Go to Spencer, right? So, but does that? I mean, we are reading it because we have to read it. हमने UGC NET exam देना है. Frankly speaking, right? Given a choice, we will read all kinds of other works and not go back to those periods, right? I mean, it's a bad thing I'm saying that in Department of English, coming from Department of English, right? But this is how we are also going to decolonize, the big British English in that sense. So, but you ask yourself this question, what appeals to you? A simple piece of writing?
Also my question.
Yeah.
When we use the simple language in the answer, we got not too much marks, and I'm not satisfied with that. So we have to use a more quotation and figurative language and deductive language.
No. Here you are wrong. So I'll tell you, I've not seen your writing. You're not getting marks because you're writing simple language. That's not the problem. You're not getting marks because your answers are not well organized. Quote you have to, right? Because again, the evidence you have to give, right? So quote you will have to quote, right? But we do not expect, none of the teachers expect that you are writing as Wordsworth wrote, right? None of us, even we can't write like that, we can't even read like that.
AI would
Right.
write. AI would write it that way.
हाँ टेक ये देगा या कमांड वो लिख के देगा, right? But so the problem is not that you are writing simple, so you are not getting marks. The other problem is that even when I say simple, I do not mean to say that do not write irrelevant. I mean, use irrelevant words. You have to be very careful with your choice of words. Simple words but relevant words. Right? I give you an example. Willful और wishful में difference है. दोनों ही अलग और दोनों मतलब एक दूसरे के opposite हैं. Right? So we have to be. I mean, your choice of words has to be correct. Right? You're welcome. Yes. Okay. Now, so see, a little detachment is required here, right? So I can then understand. So has that affected your writing in a good way or a bad way?
We are discussing we are discussing writing for research, okay? Not for exam.
No.
Like you said, disorganized. So maybe I'm looking at a short and I've
Yes.
improved it quite a bit.
And don't try to imitate writers. Right? I think what is happening here is we are trying to write like the writers. Right? So don't try to imitate the writers. वो अपने पीरियड का लिख चुके हैं, कर चुके हैं वो काम खत्म, हमें उन्हें सिर्फ पढ़ना है. Right? Develop your own language. And see, you all will have your own language. Right? You cannot have a language like me. And we also have an influence of our mother tongues on our language. Right? So, because I come from North, I will have a lot of influence in my language from North. It's been 20 years I've been staying in Gujarat. I will have a lot of influence of Gujarati also entering my language and my style of writing. Right? And what happens with many of us, we are constantly translating. Right? So when you write in English, your first thought will be in Gujarati. And then you will translate and you will write in English. Right? So, and this happens subconsciously, we don't even know that we are doing it. Right? So that is where you need to develop your own style of writing. And you have to also be careful here because Gujarati will have a certain structure, right? A grammatical structure, and English will have a different grammatical structure. Right? I am going Delhi. English requires a to in between. I am going to Delhi. Right? But हम उसको I am going Delhi क्यों कर देते हैं? क्योंकि गुजराती में to नहीं आता. मैं दिल्ली जा रहा हूँ. मतलब मैं हिंदी में बोलूँ मैं दिल्ली जा रहा हूँ. दिल्ली को नहीं जा रहा. Right? So what you need to do is you need to develop your own style of writing. Right? So don't be much influenced by the writers you are reading. Right? Read the writers. ये छोड़ मत देना पड़ना. उल्टा असर हो गया. Right? So read the writers but distance yourself. Like think in your own language, think and write in your own style of writing. Develop your own style of writing. Right? Yes.
As you mentioned that we have to use language too and adapt to the language we are moving. So as you also mentioned that if professor asks and we become blank at third blank because that language is not ours. So how we can clear that idea that because that language I am using is from other device. So what's my ideology, my thinking, my language?
So see, this is a very complicated question, and this is actually a lot of researchers are working on the problem which you are, NEP also has addressed this particular question which you are raising. So NEP is coming up with a solution that it is saying, okay, let students write their thesis in their language. right? Let them study in their language, right? So I don't have an answer for this question, but I have a case to share with you, right? So in Odisha particularly, um, there has been a lot of research with a lot of tribal communities. So what they did was they started training instructors from those particular communities in their language. And they took the modern education to their communities in their particular language. It has been a very, very successful, project over there. And this means a lot of people from many different communities, have come forward and they have been able to enter into mainstream education, right? These are bad words. I mean, every education is mainstream education, but what I mean to say is they've been able to crack any NEETs and JEEs and all, so children have been able to come out. But the foundational education has been given to them in their own language. So once their language is, strong enough and they have their foundation in their own language, then they can pick up any other language. Then you can even distance yourself from other languages and learn other languages because you know your language very well. Unfortunately, I am also a product of this post-colonial Khichdi language, right? I do not have one clean language जिसको हम बोलते हैं, right? Neat या pure language जिसको आप बोलते हो, मुझे मेरे पास भी नहीं है, right? I also think in mixed language. I neither think in Punjabi nor in Hindi, right? Nor in English. It's like kind of mixed thing. But I'm very happy when I see states like Gujarat where people speak their language like Gujarati, right? Because we were always in a Indian diaspora, right? Always out from Punjab. We never attained that kind of a Punjabi, right? And this is what has happened with a lot of urbanized, cosmopolitan spaces, where people have actually they have lost their languages, right? So I don't have an answer, but I hope I've been able to touch somewhere whatever you asked. So you wanted to add something?
I just wanted to share one of the experiences with two earlier two students regarding marks and you always emphasize, for example, we have to reread. Most of our students, they take down the points. They never read, they go on reading. They never write. What my theory is, they write only during the time of exam.
Yes.
So whatever they have read earlier, they remember all thoughts and they fall into a kind of misorganization. So I think, So I think in order to improve writing, one has to rewrite and rewrite.
So I think sir has a very valid point over there, a very important point over here. Are you writing only, your first time writing is the exam? Right?
Most of the cases.
So yes, I agree answer.
Most of the
So
All
first
the
time,
cases, not most of the
and they also agree, right? So the first time writing is happening during the exam, right? So it's not like कि एक बार ही लिखने से हो जाएगा. I don't know. I'm a bit of a old schooler. मुझे ऐसा यहाँ आके ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं बहुत अपनी लाइफ से भी एग्जांपल्स दे रही हूँ तो मुझे लग रहा है कि उम्र हो गई है, right? But I remember, I know, I'm sure, sir, even you, हमें इतने मोटे-मोटे register दिए जाते थे. We used to make a lot of notes, right? And when I came to English, I was a science student. I came to English only because I loved writing. And science never gave me that opportunity to write. Right? So it was a very conscious decision that I made that I'm going to study English honors. Right? And we used to, at least, I'm sure many of us, we are people of notes. Now we have all switched over to computers, but we were all people of notes. We used to write a lot. And exam was not the first time writing. So I think it's a very, very valid point. The problem is here that we are not writing before we have entered the examination hall. We are writing in the exam itself. So वो तो first draft हुआ, right? Rough ही हो गया, right? Absolutely.
I think time is always a villain in interesting stories. This is an interesting session, a lot of questions, a lot of deliberations. Towards the end, although Marx hijacked this entire discourse on academic writing, but while you guys are subjective, I can't blame you. You're still thinking Marx. The discourse was originally on how do you write in a formal way. You know, there was this discussion on romantics and metaphysical poetry and all that. Enlightenment was brought in because that was high diction. And I'm reminded of Alexander Pope, who said, what oft was thought, never so well expressed. So writing is a formal act of, putting your idea on a piece of paper, and that becomes a permanent record. What I speak here, it is recorded here, but speaking otherwise is an informal act. What I was going to say is what I speak would vanish, but the camera reminded me that it will not vanish. Therefore, I brought in that stream of consciousness thought. But so I think the session was very engaging for the fact that she took all of you along with you in a very expressive, lucid, simple way. She took some very, very significant points on what academic writing actually is. And I was so happy that she could bring some examples. And then she discussed those examples at length. So I think there's a lot of learning that has taken place there. We must congratulate her for making this a very interesting session post-lunch. We all speak and we know that post-lunch second session is always a very difficult session to take because the speaker's challenge is to keep the listeners alive, so that was well done. A simple tip as I'm chairing the session, you cannot master academic writing by discussing it. You cannot master academic writing by just listening to the framework of how academic writing should be done. As Amit Bhai said, if you want to learn writing, write. The more you write, more you understand how to write. So it is work teaches work. Therefore, start writing. Thank you all very much and have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you very much, madam, for this engagement.